So right now we're going to take a look at section 5.3, which is polynomial functions. And a lot of this is a little bit of a review, what we did in Algebra 1, and we've been talking about these vocab words again throughout the year, but just to refresh our memory. And one new thing, polynomial function. A polynomial function has the form a sub 0, x to the n plus a sub 1 to the x to the n minus 1, dot, 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 all the way to your constant there. A polynomial function cannot have any product of variables. So I put an example here, 6xy, there's a product of two variables, so that can't be a polynomial function. You also can't have any variables in the denominator for it to be a polynomial function. So this first example, you have 4 over x is in the denominator, so it's not a polynomial function. Here, 8y to the negative third, again, that negative 3 means the y is in the denominator. That would not be a polynomial function. The graphs are continuous, meaning we don't have any breaks or gaps in it. A step function would not be a polynomial function. Graphs curve and turn, there's no sharp edges. So you wouldn't have something like that absolute value graph here because that does come down to your v. So they are very smooth and fluid, these polynomial functions. Standard form, the really important thing to remember is that it has to be in descending order, so the biggest exponent will go first. Leading coefficient, this is important because that coefficient again tells you what the shape looks like. So the leading coefficient is the coefficient of the first term, so it has the highest degree. So it will tell us a little bit about what the graph will look like. Remember when we did our parabolas, if a was positive, we had the parabola opening up. If it was negative, we had the parabola opening down. We're going to be looking at how to classify these. One term has to be a monomial, 2 is a bi, 3 is a tri, 4 more terms is a polynomial. We're also going to look at the degree. You find the degree from the highest monomial there, and so it's going to be your first term. And the degree will also help us to see what each graph will look like. We'll talk about that more as we get through the notes. So degree of 0 is our constant. In standard form, it's just like f of x equals 3. Here's an example, y equals negative 3. So what's the leading coefficient? Negative 3, and this is a constant, and it's a monomial because there's one term. Second one term, it's linear. Example, our leading coefficient is 2, and this is a linear monomial. We could have a plus 5 here too. It would still be linear, but that would be a binomial. Degree of 2 is a quadratic. We've spent a lot of time working on this. Here we have leading coefficient of negative 1. This is a trinomial, so it's a quadratic trinomial. The next one is degree of 3. It's called cubic. We have 5x to the third. Leading coefficient is 5. This is a cubic, but it's 2 terms, so it's a binomial. Next one here, degree of 4. It's quartic. Leading coefficient is 1. Again, it's a quartic, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a polynomial. And then general term, the nth power, your degree would be n.